Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in to Yellow Hawk Customs Outdoors. If you're anything like me, it took me a long time to figure out how to keep my tools and my knives sharp in the field. Okay, it's easy to do at home because we have all kinds of implements to help us out there, right? In the field, it's a little more difficult because you have to do it by hand. That means you got to find your angle, all that stuff, right? And it can be daunting for some guys who don't go out into the field enough to practice, okay? So you guys stick around. I'm going to show you what I've learned over the last 40 years of being in the field, being in special operations, through hiking the Appalachian Trail, backpacking everywhere, you know, all that kind of stuff, okay? So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, so let me show you some of the stuff we're going to be talking about here, okay? Just going to show it real quick, okay? Just so you can get an idea of what we're going to be talking about in this video. Here's some sheath systems. They're going to play a role in this as well. Okay. Now, this is everything that I might use either at home or in the field to sharpen my knives and my tools, including axes. Okay. So let's get to it. I'm going to talk about some of the sharpening systems that I put on my sheath systems. Yellow Hawk Customs Outdoors sheath systems, both the regular Sear model, you know, the Sear series, as well as the Leather Elites. It depends on what you want. You got to tell me, okay? So I'm going to show you some of the stuff that I would put on a sheath, depending on how long the knife is, what the customer wants, blah, 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 blah. All right, so the first thing that I might put on a sheath system, if the knife is big enough, is this. This is an AccuSharp diamond rod, okay? And I'll show it to you. It's got a conical end, which lends to its versatility, okay? It's got a flat side. It's got a rounded side. This will sharpen anything you have, okay? Now, I want to say, now this is a fine to medium grit, okay? But these get finer as you use them. And for guys who know how to sharpen in the field, that's a good thing, okay? So all you do is you put it in there, right? You tighten down the hub, and you sharpen your knife with it. I will generally use it without this on it, okay? Just because I can wield it a little better, you know, by not using that, okay? It's real easy. Let me grab a knife. Okay, now this is CPM 3V. This is a basic multifunction. It's a collaboration between myself and Mike Wallace at Wallace Edged Tools. It's called the BMF. Okay, it's a French trapper in a modern age, basically, okay? So a lot of times what I'll do is I'll take the diamond sharpener to the steel, okay? And I'll sharpen it just like this. And it doesn't matter if you go back and forth like this, really. You just want to get those diamonds on that edge. Now, I know exactly what angle to use this at. I do it all the time on this particular knife. I know the angles of the knives that I use most often. Okay? I also do it by feel. I get that roughness. It's a roughness. This is sharpening in the field is something you have to practice. And when you get it, when that light bulb goes off, you're done. You got it. You can sharpen anything in the field, and it will happen if you do it. Okay? It just takes some trial and error. Okay? You can also do it this way, back and forth like this. Okay? All right. Now this knife is always sharp. Okay. But that's basically how I'll do it. Sometimes I'll do it like this. I will take the knife to the sharpener. Okay, like this. You gotta be careful. Watch your fingers if you're not going to use this. Okay, if you're not going to use this, that's what this is for, safety. Okay, so watch your fingers if you're not going to use it. As you use these fine diamond rods, they'll get finer and finer, that's a good thing in the field. Okay, and here's the reason. I will only take this steel and touch it to a diamond rod, or vice versa, if there's a chip in it. Okay, if there's a little micro chip in there, you know, like a little, and it happens all the time in the field. You know, you're doing feather sticks, or you're chopping something, and you boom, nick it on a rock, or it goes into the soil, and you get a little chip from a pebble or whatever. Okay, it happens. That is when I will get this out, because diamonds cut steel. Period. Okay, this is your most effective sharpener in the field. This cuts steel. Period. And it doesn't matter what steel it is. This is CPM 3, one of the hardest. Okay, it's in the harder steel group. Okay, and this diamond rod will in no time take a small chip out of this. Now it depends on how big the chip is. If it's a chip you can really see with the naked eye, it's going to take a while, okay? But it will do it, okay? Otherwise, I will only use it if it needs to be sharpened, okay? Now, here's a kind of like an explanation about this. When I use my knives in the field, I use them for a particular task, and then immediately when I'm finished, I strop it. Okay? I want to strop. Okay? We're getting to that. Okay? We're going to get to that. Generally in the field, that's all I use is a strop with some compound. Okay? I do not go to the diamond sharpener unless it needs it. And it rarely does. Now some of you guys who want to use your knife until it gets dull, you're going to need this all the time. Okay? Or this one. This is my standalone diamond rod. This diamond rod is a little finer than this one. Okay? But this one does some things that this one can't. So you gotta, you know what I mean? I like them both. If someone said to me, here Doug, just pick one and go, right? I wouldn't have any problem picking up either one, because I can use both of them. Okay? But they're both quality sharpeners that I'm not gonna charge you an arm and a leg for. You know, they're not $100. You know what I mean? Now I have to build holders for them and blah 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 blah. So if you want one, I think that option is about $50. It's the sharpener and the holder, which becomes a mount plate for something else as well. So you got to think about all this when you order a sheath. Okay? A guy like me, I can do anything with Kydex. If you want it and I know it'll work, I can do it for you. Okay? If you want me to put a Humvee on your sheath system, I could probably do it. Anyway, so I only use them if I have to. Okay? But they are, in my opinion, essential to have on a knife sheath. Okay? All through my years in special ops, I carried a knife sharpener on my sheath in some way, shape, or form. Usually it was just Ranger banded to it, okay? Because back then, I wasn't really into Kydex like I am now, okay? Back then, I was making leather sheaths and you know, experimenting with that kind of stuff. And leather just doesn't have the mounting capability that Kydex does, okay? And it doesn't have the security capability either to secure your blade, okay? So Kydex is much better in the field for securing your blade. And, you know, in the Army, in the military, you need security. It's got to be a great sheath that holds that knife well, or you might lose it, or it may end up hurting you. So Kydex is my go-to material for knives that are used in the field, okay? I don't have any exceptions, okay? You know, I do have a couple of neck knives that still have the original leather sheath, but they go in this way, not this way, okay? This way, right? This is a Kydex sheath, and it will hold this knife securely without coming out until I take it out. All right. So this knife here is an adventure craft from the Prepper's Bunker. This is Jacob Peterson at the Prepper's Bunker. This is his design, his company, Exodus Knife and Tool. And I'm doing a few of these for him in Kydex as I don't know, as like a 1-off or a 2-off or a 3-off. And then you're going to be able to contact me through Jacob and have these systems, this modular system, okay, built for your adventure craft knife, okay, if you want, okay. I'll give you a little example here. This dangler system snaps right into the tech lock. So you got belt carry and you got dangler carry. And if you don't want dangler carry, you just unhook it from the tech lock and stow it away in your gear somewhere until you need it. All right. If you need it, you just snap it into the tech lock. Okay. There's a lot more to this modular system as well. Jacob can go over that when he gets them. He should be getting them here in a week or so. Anyway, back to the sharpening. Boom. Right? Where were we? Oh, so diamond rods, they're great. I suggest you get one on your sheath system if the knife is big enough. Okay? It's got to be at least a 5-inch blade. If not, then I'm going to put one of these on it, which it works. Not quite as well as the longer one, but I'm going to put one of these smaller ones on it, okay? These smaller diamond rods, okay? Let me see if I can find one. I have, here it is, okay? So this is what it looks like outside of the housing, okay? It is a quality sharpener. They work very well in the field, okay? And if you want this smaller one on your sheath, regardless of how big the knife is, I can do that for you, okay? It works, okay? It just, you know, you're going to have more strokes because it's not as big, okay? That depends on you, how big or small you want something. I can do it. All right, so those are the two that I'll normally put on there according to what you want. Here's another one that I might put on there for a smaller knife, like a 4-inch blade. I might be able to put this on the back, and this one will flip out, okay? So it'll be on one of the holes, the eyelets, and it will flip out like this, and you'll be able to sharpen that way and then flip it back. Okay, that's another way I can do it. Or I could put one of these on it. Okay, this is like an emergency sharpener. If you get a chip in your blade or it's really dull, this one's going to help you out. Okay, it is very effective. Just remember the mantra, diamonds cut steel, period. Okay? And basically what that means is it's your best sharpener in the field for removing metal from a blade that you need to get sharp quick. But like I said, it takes practice. And this one gets finer and finer as you use it, which is not a bad thing. Okay? So I can do that as well. And you and I will talk about this stuff. If you got this gigantic blade, right, that's 9 inches long, you say, Doug, just put one of them small plates on there. I'll do it for you, but there's a better option there. The bigger one, okay? So, and, you know, weight-wise, this one's really light, but so is this one. This thing only weighs 1/4 of an ounce. No, maybe 1/2 an ounce. 1/2 an ounce, 3/4 of an ounce, maybe an ounce-ish. I don't know. I'm not good with weight. Okay? The same with this one. All right? All right. So we can also put a ceramic on there. Okay? Now, this is more along the lines of honing, not sharpening. Okay? I consider ceramics honing rods, not sharpening rods. Okay? They take off very little metal, and basically what this does is it straightens out the metal on the very edge of the edge and makes it super sharp. Okay? But you have to already have a really good edge to begin with. So you're not going to take a dull edge and sharpen it with a ceramic. You're going to be there for a half a year, right? Because here's the mantra: ceramics do not cut steel. They hone it. They straighten that edge out for you. You look at an edge under a microscope and it looks like this, right? All jagged, right? And this straightens all that out. Makes it nice and sharp. It takes a little metal off, absolutely. You can see it when you do it. Hold on. All right. So that was just 2 strokes. You can see that line right there. All right. So it does take a little bit of metal off, smoothing that edge out a little bit. But that is basically what I will put on a sheath for a sharpening system. Those items, okay, that I have found them to be the best for the least amount of money. Okay, you get what I'm saying? They're not cheap, but they're not super expensive either. You get what I'm saying? All right. And as far as sharpening goes, these are badass. They work really well. So do these, everything. It all does, okay? Because I've tested it all. I've done all the testing that I need to do. They work. I use them in the field. And trust me, if they didn't work in the field, I wouldn't use them. I just wouldn't use them. It's that simple. Because whatever I build, it has to work and work well. I don't want it to just work, it works okay. It's got to work well or I won't do it. Okay? So all this stuff is like thoroughly tested. You know what I mean? Thoroughly tested. Right? There. Makes a fool out of me. Anyway. So what's next? Alright, so when it comes to sharpening in the field, really sharpening anywhere, home or field, the key is you have to get used to the sharpener that you want to use. So it's very difficult for someone to sit here on a video and show you how to sharpen with this diamond rod, this AccuSharp diamond rod, right? But at home, you don't have this sharpener. You got something else, okay? Because every sharpener is different, okay? The diamond particles are a little grittier on some fine rods than on others. It all depends. And like I said, the more you use this, the finer it gets. So if yours is an old one, mine's a new one, vice versa, it's very difficult for you to get what I'm going to tell you are good results with this sharpener, okay? Plus, the other thing is this is, you have to go by feel. Especially field sharpening, when you have to do everything by hand. I do everything by feel, but I've been doing it forever, right? I've been doing it for 35, 40 years, right? So I know with my particular knife, I know what the angle is, right? It could be 19 degrees, could be 20, could be 21, could be 22, 20. It depends. I don't go by numbers. I go by feel, okay? And that's what's going to happen to you as you sharpen. You're going to go by feel. And you're going to also go by results, okay? So here's what I suggest. Take an old knife, right? Doesn't matter what the steel is. Just remember, diamonds cut steel, period. So it doesn't matter what steel it is. Get yourself a diamond rod, AccuSharp, whatever. Okay, you can buy a cheap Chinese one off of eBay if you want. They generally don't last very long, but there are some eBay finds in diamond rods that I'm going to get ready to show you that are good bets. Matter of fact, let me do that real quick. Here's one right here. Okay, this thing was like, I don't know, $6. It's got double-sided, right? See, diamond stones and rods, they're pretty inexpensive to manufacture. These are industrial diamonds, so there's kind of like a byproduct type thing. Okay, so this one was like $6. These work really well. I have no idea what it's called. It's got the green handle. It's the only one you're going to find that's like this. Pick one of these up, right? And work with this at home, okay? Another one. This is a plate, you know, kind of made in China. 800, 1000, right? 800 grit, 1000 grit. This one works well too. And like I said, they're all going to get finer as you use them, all right? So let's go back to this, all right? So I go by feel. This is a brand new diamond rod, okay? Watch your fingers. It's all about rhythm and getting the whole blade, okay? Some guys have a problem with getting the tip sharp. Well, if you start here and you go all the way to the tip and you keep the same angle, you see, and that's the hardest part, keeping that same angle across the tip. See how I do this? All right? If you go straight across like this, you might miss it, okay? So I kind of like angle it like an arc. After I do it a few times, I'll feel it. Now this is definitely getting sharp, okay? Now it was razor sharp before I started, but it's no worse for wear right now. It just has a toothier edge on it now. That's all. Okay. The other thing is you can take the rod to the steel, okay, and do it this way. All right. I do it both ways. It depends on the knife, how I'm feeling, whether I farted that day, you know, that kind of thing. All right. All right. So, diamonds cut steel, period. This thing is very sharp right now. A toothy edge because you used the diamonds on it. Now, the next step is once you get it sharp, right, you got to strop it, okay? This is the next step. Now, there's a lot of guys out there who have never stropped in their entire life. Didn't even know what it was, okay? But I'm telling you that in the field, this is usually all I use, a strop, okay? Now, let me move this sharpener out of the way. We're going to get to that, too. It's going to be like the second part of the video. This is a piece of compressed leather, okay? If you got a really soft piece of leather that's spongy, throw it out. Get something that's nice and compact, compressed, okay? If it's got a lot of nap on it, okay? And nap is the flesh side, okay? This is the skin side, real smooth, right? This is the flesh side. It's got a lot of nap on it. Take a razor blade, you know, out of your razor knife, okay? And scrape some of that nap off. Take some of that fuzzy stuff off of there. All right? Trust me, you'll thank me. Take some of it off. It does make the leather a little thinner. That's okay. All right? You don't need a block of wood, right, and a paddle. You don't need all that, okay? If you want to, sure, go ahead and buy that stuff, but they probably already have a good piece of leather on there for you anyway. All right, so, but this is just me. I've been doing it a long time. Okay, so I got a lot of the nap off of there. All right, take that off. Let's get rid of some of this crap off the table. Okay. Alright. Now this is pretty good. Okay. Nice and compressed. Okay. There's a flesh side here. And there's a skin side. Okay. Now I have compound on the skin side too. A lot of guys don't do that. But that's the benefit of using just a piece of leather. You can get a finer edge. Okay. So I'm going to take some of this off with the same razor blade. I'm going to take that stuff off of there. Okay, and I'm going to reload it. This skin is pretty tough stuff. Unless you cut it, you're probably not going to scrape it off of there. Alright? So it stays smooth. Alright? Get rid of that. I'm using this BMF because it's a hard steel, and I don't want guys saying, "Oh well, he's just using a 1095 steel knife." They're all easy to sharpen. Yeah, they are. Easier to sharpen. Depends on the Rockwell though. I know a knife maker that gets 1095 up to 60, 61 Rockwell, right? Because he likes that hardness for his knives. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to load it with compound. Oh boy. Okay, let's load the leather up with black. This is Bark River black compound. This is a pretty fine grit. This is the one I use the most. If you want to use white or blue, they're finer, you can do that. This seems to work the best for me for all around good edge. Okay, just load it onto the leather. Now, some guys would tell you that you don't have to put it on there solid, you know what I mean? You don't have to put a lot on there, but the stuff is cheap, and the more you put on there, the better your edge is going to be, in my opinion, okay? I have reasons for saying everything I say, usually based on experience. Okay, so there's that. All right, so the next step, now let me see what we got here. All right, so I want to touch it up just a little bit more. You get a really good toothy edge. Okay, now this will maintain that low shouldered convex edge that I put on most of my knives. That's going to be for a different video. I'm sorry, guys. You have to start with the machine on that edge. You can't. It's hard to do it by hand. It takes a long time. So I do it on the Work Sharp grinder, the Ken Onion grinder for the Work Sharp, and then it's ready for the field when I need it. Because as I use it, it'll get dull. Okay, and then if I can adjust this edge with this and this, okay? So we're pretty much, this is pretty good. So let's just drop it, see what happens. Now yes, CPM 3V does take longer to strop than other steels. I like to take it till it starts grabbing. It grabs the edge, okay? And I do it by sound too. I don't like a real soft sound. I like a rip, like that. Okay, there's a difference. See, I just let the angle go a little bit, right? And you see how, listen to how soft it is. Okay, now that's not getting the edge, okay? When you tilt it up a little bit, now it's getting the edge. You hear that? Yeah, technically you don't have to press too hard doing this. Nope, not ready. I get it to where it just starts popping hairs. That's all I need. And like I said, it does take longer with CPM 3V. It's a harder steel. I look at the edge to see if the teeth are coming out of it. You know, that toothy edge I put on it with this. You want that, you want those striations, those scratches gone. You want them gone. It's getting there. Yep. It's getting there. You can also go backwards with it too, like this. A little bit more compound here and there. Before I go out into the field, I load it up really good so that it'll last me 3 or 4 days in the field this way. There we go. Alright, that's going pretty good. You can see the hair on the blade there. So with that low shoulder convex grind I'm talking about, I put it on there with that Work Sharp and the Ken Onion Grinder Edition, and then while I'm in the field I can adjust it back and forth with this and this. So if I need it a little less shoulder, I'll do it with this. I'll take the shoulder off of it, a little bit of it, right? And when I say shoulder, I'm talking about the roundness of the convex up near the top there. You need to know the terminology of this stuff too, you know. The shoulder is right there where it starts to turn into the convex. That's the shoulder, okay? I can straighten that shoulder out with this and then get it to exactly where I want it by stropping it. So this is putting a little more convex back into it. So you straighten it out with the diamond rod, then you put a little bit of convex to it by stropping it, and it works out real well. Okay, that's pretty good. All right. It cuts here. It's not popping it yet, but it is cutting it. This is the part that takes the longest. It's getting it super sharp with the strop. But remember, it is CPM 3V. It does take a while. All right. That's not bad. See the hair on it? All right. Now I can make it sharper and sharper and sharper. Okay. If I wanted to, I could take it right back to the steel again, to the sharpener, and make it a little sharper so it's easier to strop. Now these are field sharpening implements. They're not going to be quite as efficient as, say, a large stone at home. Okay? A large stone at home will get it for you quicker. So field sharpening always takes longer, unless you carry around something like this, or a generator and a work sharp. If it's really dull, I'll do this. If it's really dull, just to get a bunch of steel off to where that edge is starting to come alive again. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff you can do, and it depends on how dull your knife is. Okay, that's getting pretty sharp. Now you could do the same thing with this. It just takes longer because it's not as much surface area, but it also doesn't weigh nearly as much as this thing does too. And you can't put this on your sheath. You can put this on your sheath because of its size, and its weight. It's very, very lightweight. All right, now that straightened it out a little bit. Took some of that shoulder off. Now I can put some of the shoulder back on it and start to convex it a little bit, which gives you a stronger edge. With CPM 3V, I know I'm throwing a lot of information at you at one time. You got to process it. CPM 3V, you can get a thinner edge with CPM 3V, and it's still going to remain fairly strong, as opposed to a thin edge on 1095 might chip on you easier. Alright, not too bad. Alright, it's getting there. I don't know if you can see that or not. But. And like I said, strop it, 10, 15 more times, and you will get it razor sharp. And when I say it's convexing the edge, when it comes to CPM 3V, this is taking very, very minute amounts of steel off every time you run it across the strop. Minute. It's convexing it a little bit. Steel is tough stuff, man. Alright. Alright, I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. That's a pretty sharp knife, okay? And if I kept going, I'd get it sharper, right? So this will feather stick and chop and do all kinds of stuff. Now it's got a pretty strong edge on it. I don't know if you can see that convex-ish edge. I don't know if you can see it with this camera. Instead of it being straight, it's got a little convexness to it, you know. Anyway, so there's that. Okay, that's field sharpening. And like I said, if you want to, you know, sit at home and do this, get yourself a stone like this. It's more efficient, right? Get the edge that you want, and then take your knife out into the field, or do it on a work sharp, which is really quick. Okay, we're going to do that next. Okay, so field sharpening does take longer, does take some practice. Okay, but you can get it fairly efficient if you got the right tools. Okay, now if you're sitting here in the field with a stone, okay, you're going to be there a long time. Use diamonds. Okay, stones are just not diamond capable. Okay, it depends on the stone, right? But generally, diamonds will do it quicker and more efficiently. All right, so let's move on to the Ken Onion Work Sharp. Okay. All right, the Ken Onion Work Sharp. Okay, here it is right here. Now, this is not the way it comes. It comes with a different attachment on it. This attachment here is the Ken Onion grinder attachment for the Ken Onion Work Sharp. Okay, so there's the grinder attachment. Okay, it doesn't have any belts on it yet. You can see that I have it set at between 18 and 20 degrees. Okay. That's where I like to set it. I know you guys are saying, oh, it's too thin. No, not for CPM 3V, it's not. Okay? I like a slicey edge. Okay, remember that feather sticking thing? That's my test. If a knife will feather stick well, bite real well, like a good Scandi grind bite, right? Like that. That's a Scandi. And I can get that kind of bite out of this convex edge. It's called a low-shouldered convex grind, and it just has less of a shoulder on it, but still convexed. Okay, it still makes it strong, but slicier. You know, makes it a very efficient edge. So what I'm going to start with, the grittier belt. Okay, I don't know, 220 belt. I can't remember the. This is another thing you just have to practice, guys. Have to practice it. Okay? Okay, before I start, I'm going to start by putting it on the shelf. Okay? This is how you're supposed to do it. Put it on the shelf, right? And then move it up to the blade, to the belt. Shelf, belt. Every time you switch, shelf, belt. I don't do that. Okay? I customize the edge. Okay? But here we go. You ready? I work at the top of the belt, okay? At the top of the belt, as close to the wheel as I can get it without touching the wheel. That is where that belt is the tightest. So it's not going to convex your edge as much as if you do it here. So watch. See that? And then watch this, okay? Big difference. Now this belt is not brand new. It's fairly old, so the grit is worn down a little bit. Okay. So now I'm gonna turn the blade over. Now, if you get a brand new belt, let me go get a brand new belt. Hold on. Okay, these belts are 320 grit. Okay, 320. All right. This is a brand new one. I buy these aftermarket. I'll be honest with you, the ones made by Worksharp are better than the aftermarket ones. Okay, they last longer. What you're looking for when you do this, and you will see it as you run across that belt, you will see the metal start to build up on the edge. It's called a burr. Okay, you'll see it. It's a very thin line right at the very edge. You will see it start to build up. That's what you're looking for. Once you see that, you turn it over and you do it again, and you look for it again. There it is. There it is. You want that burr the whole length of the edge. Alright, now that's pretty sharp right now at a 320 grit belt. Okay, that's pretty sharp. I could go a few more passes on this, but I'm going to switch to a finer belt now. Now, I just go by look. I don't know what grit these are, but I'm going to go to this guy here. No, that's a 322. All right, the blue ones are pretty fine. All right, so let's go to a blue belt. These are aftermarkets. All right. This one's noisy. Getting there. Alright, I think it's ready for the strop, okay? Now keep in mind, this was already sharp, okay? So I kind of took the edge off and then put it back on, okay? you can buy leather strops for these Ken Onion grinders, okay? They do wear out after a while, though. You have to replace them. Okay? Go. Put some compound on it. Now this is stropping the edge. Alright, now that's really, really sharp. Okay, you can see that hair building up on there? See it on my arm? Okay, that's about as sharp as it's gonna get. That's like a razor blade. Okay? But you can see how quick it is with the strop on the grinder. Okay? It only took a few passes and bang. Okay? The last couple of passes on that strop, I will increase the angle just a little bit more, like this. Well, that's a lot more, but increase it just a little bit more, and you put what you call micro bevel on the edge. It makes it really sharp, but strong too. Okay, stronger. There's a lot of physics involved in this stuff, okay? So, there it is, okay? CPM 3V, razor sharp. Okay? You can get the same thing in the field. Now, this is field ready. It's ready for the field. Okay? So what I'll do is I will go out to the field. I'll use this knife. Chop, 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 chop. Grind, 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 grind. Slice, 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 slice. Right? And then when I'm done, I'll take it right to the strop. Hear that? Hear that? That's what you're looking for. Almost like a tearing. Alright? If it's soft, like that, you're not at the edge. You want it up. Get that. If you go too far, you're going to too convex it. It's going to be way over convexed. And it's going to ruin your edge. So it's a dance. It's a dance, guys. Okay? And there it is. It stays sharp. There. Oh. So you can maintain it in the field just by stropping it. Just by stropping it. Oh God, that's too much. Alright. My arms are dry. I take too many showers. Okay, so there it is. Alright, pretty damn sharp. Okay, so there it is. Okay, that's 40 years worth of experience in a half an hour, however long this video is going to be. Okay, now let me show you some of the sheath systems and some of the options you can get on your sheath systems. Now, keep in mind, every one of these sheath systems are my personal ones. I built them for me, okay? So, I like to be prepared in the field, okay? I like to be prepared. If I lose my kit, my pack, I got to DD mail out of there real quick and do whatever, and I got to leave my gear or whatever because that's what I got to do, I'm going to have my knife on me. It's going to be on my belt, and everything that's on this knife may have to keep me alive for a few days, okay? And it will, okay? I got fire on here. I got direction finding. I got sharpening. I got light. You know, it's just, come on. And then I got, you know, like my little EDC. I have a light on this one, okay? Because I like to have light in the field whenever I want it, okay? It's also got fire on it, okay? If I need to sharpen this blade, I'm out there for more than a few days or whatever, then I will find a nice smooth stone to get a pretty decent edge, okay? I'll find one. But these, you already got sharpening on these, okay? This one's got one of those plates on it. This is my Delta Whiskey Infinity. This has a Scandi grind. You sharpen these things differently than other knives. Okay, that's a Scandi grind, right? This one is a really shallow angle, okay, to keep that. You don't want a big bevel on the edge of it, okay? You want it to go down into a 0-degree bevel, maybe a micro bevel. LT Wright puts a micro bevel on them, keep them a little stronger, because Scandi grinds, they're kind of weak when it comes to side to side. You know, they chip easy, okay, easier than other edges. So there's that one. This one's got Phoenix E12 on it. It's got a scraper. You can use the scraper for other stuff too. It also, this scraper will also undo these screws too. All right, and tighten them back up if you need to or whatever. Okay. So I kind of like, this one's got one shoved in it so I can get to it easy. Just pull it out, tighten the screw up or whatever I need to do, shove it back in, okay? This knife here does not have a super 90-degree edge, although it works well. Doesn't work as good as some, so I keep a striker on it, all right? And then this guy here, this is the sheath for this knife. This is our quick clip system. Piggyback system that is, like, I call it the quick clip, okay? Just clips right on there, all right? Works out well. This one here is a standalone. I got to put a handle on it, all right? Okay? So that's it. Just want to show you that stuff. I think that's it. Here's another sharpener you can use at home or the field. This is called a jeweler's stick or jewel stick, something like that. Okay, just jeweler's diamond stick. You have to, some combination of that on eBay. Okay, these are real nice too. Really super fine, like 800 grit or whatever. Work really well. I use this at home a lot. That's it. You want to stay away from these kind of sharpeners, guys. These jaw sharpeners. This will reprofile your edge into something you probably don't want. Okay? You could even ruin your knife with this edge. Okay? You take a dark timber and run that through here. Right? Peter Cole will probably shoot you in the head for that. Alright? Anyway, I stay away from stuff like this. Okay, this is a Lansky tactical sharpener. And although my standalone sharpeners, these are the same rods as what's in this Lansky, it doesn't have this whole big 8-pound container on it either. You know, this exoskeleton, right? And like this is just, you don't need it. You just don't need it. All right. If you want to use one of them in your kitchen or whatever to get a quick edge on your kitchen knives, fine. Please don't use them with your outdoor knives. You're gonna be sorry. Okay. I think that's it. Any questions, leave them in the comments below, please, or contact me. I don't have any problem with you guys texting me, 443-315-6033. That's how you get a hold of me for a sheath system, too. Text me. See you guys.
Yellowhawk Customs Outdoors. Combat and wilderness grade custom knife and sheath systems. We've got the badass gear for the badass outdoorsman. Yellowhawk.